Hey folks, this is Baratunde Thurston here, and this is a video response to my own appearance on CNN with Don Lemon, Raquel Cepeda, great journalist and filmmaker. She did Bling, and Christian Lander, the guy who created and did the book for Stuff White People Like. So we did a segment on CNN talking about the census and the ethnic and racial questions therein and some controversies and how people felt about it. And Raquel did this great street interview in New York talking to various people about how they felt. So if you didn't see that, I'll try to throw the link up, let's say right about here, and you can click over and check that out. If you did, great, and if you didn't and don't want to go see it, I will do my best to summarize some of these points. The point of this is cable news is limited, and we have more space and time on the internet, so wanted to flesh out a few more of my thoughts. First of all, I have to say I did something ridiculous right before the segment called research. And I looked at the head of the census on C-SPAN. It was a 45-minute Q&A. One of my Facebook people and family friends pointed this link out to me, and so I tried to digest as much of that as possible. We spent a fair amount of time and opened the segment talking about why was the option given for black people to check black, African American, or Negro as a single line item. What was the point of the inclusion of and Negro? First thing I didn't know, that was on the 2000 census. So it's not actually a new thing. And what the director said was, look, we studied people's responses leading up to that census and right after, and about 56,000 people, in addition to checking off that option, black, African American, or Negro, also wrote in the word Negro. Like, they went out of their way to say, yeah, but I'm a Negro. And half of those people were under 45 years old. So their attempt at the census was to be as inclusive as possible, to create a box that somebody could look at and say, yo, that's me, check. And in so doing, they rubbed a lot of other people the wrong way. I would argue that 56,000 people is not a very large number relative to the millions upon millions of blacks, African Americans, or Negroes in this country. But I understood the spirit of where it came from, and that these are statisticians, ultimately. These are not political people by nature. So we spent a fair amount of time on that. I understand it. It doesn't really bother me. Like I said on the show, it kind of felt like people talking about listening to 8-tracks as opposed to CDs or MP3s. It just felt like it's from the wrong decade. On the Latino questions, what happens on the census in question 9 is for Latinos, Hispanics, or those of Spanish origin, that is all addressed as ethnicity. And then you're supposed to further choose in question 9 what race you're a part of. And there is no option for Latino, Latina, Hispanic on the race option. The point, according to the census, was, look, there's black Hispanics, there's white Hispanics, there's all kinds of mixing going on there. So we want people to be able to declare what type of Hispanic they are. Again, based on studying previous responses. Problem is, a lot of folks don't know, don't care, or don't want to share. And they're just like, look, they see themselves, most importantly, the way they see themselves is, I am Latina. Why is there no option for me? And then other groups have piled in, why is there no option for this? Why is there no option for that? And that was really fun for me to watch because, again, according to this dude who runs the census, it's science-based. They look at the most frequent responses and try to make it as easy as possible for as many people as possible to check off a box. They kept it really short this year, and there's a longer survey that happens in between these decennial counts called the American Community Survey, where religion is taken into account and all like that. But their point, look, we want to make it as easy as possible for as many people as possible to check a box. The problem is with something so close as identity, you're going to miss. And you're going to upset some folks in your scientific attempt to be precise with something that is fluid and artistic as how I see myself, how you see yourself, how your community sees itself, and how others see you. I got a lot of personal responses on Facebook and somewhat on Jack and Jill Politics saying, why are they even asking about race in the first place? And that's a good question. It's not a new question. The very first census happened in 1790, and it asked about race. Now, thankfully, we've come a long way since then. Back then, if you were not white, you were counted as 3/5 of a human. So it's nice to be a whole person again. Thank you, federal government. There's also some conspiracy theories afoot about how this isn't constitutional. And, what right do you have? Well, it's laid out in the Constitution that a census shall be taken every 10 years. And the precise nature of that census is to be determined by Congress. So it's very, very constitutional, also very controversial, but is well established by the founding fathers who were alive in 1790 when the stuff went down, that they wanted to be able to determine the number of reps in the House and et cetera based on these census counts. So that's my overall update on some of the things I didn't get to add. We have the United Negro College Fund actually, so there's existing organizations within the black community which still use that term. But larger than that, I think when I go on these shows, what I'm trying to do is A, not look stupid, and things move so fast that it's very easy to look stupid, and B, keep some kind of point to the underlying discussion. And for me, that point was, look, this is important, and let's not get hung up. Hung up's the wrong word, but for the sake of time, let's just use it. Let's not get super engaged on the specifics of a statistician's linguistic attempt to capture you and just get captured because the funding for your community, because your representation in Congress is very much at stake, and this only happens in this way every 10 years. So the discussion's great, but let's get the form back. You also actually save the government a lot of money when you mail that form back on time. They don't have to send somebody out to your house. So that was kind of cool. On the larger issue of identity, I think what makes this really challenging is everybody's got their own idea, even at the same moment in time. You know, there are black people today who see black as a negative term and prefer Negro. There are Latinos and Latinas and Hispanics and Chicanos. And if you don't see yourself, I think when you're part of a group that has been so often defined by others, especially in racialized America, where just about everybody, almost everybody has been an other at some point, and you have some dominant group saying, this is what you are. And you say, no, I'm not Japanese. I'm Chinese, idiot. I'm not Mexican. I'm Peruvian. You know, when you're given an opportunity to declare yourself and you don't see that option presented, you can't help but take that personally. And I think that's the art of it that a census missed and probably can never really capture. So I think it's important for all of us to remember what the overall point is while keeping the discussion going. I'm not saying be quiet. I'm not saying just shut up and do it. But I am saying let's do it and then keep this discussion live. So this is what a part of the point of this video is. If you have your thoughts on the census and racialization of America and what options you saw, hit us back with a video response on YouTube, or I'll post this on Jack and Jill Politics. You can comment there. Hopefully Raquel will chime in with her take. She did a great film segment, and we chatted on the way out of the CNN building in New York. Hopefully we get Christian Lander from Stuff White People Like to chime in and tell us what white people like about this or dislike about this. I'm Baratunde Thurston. Hope this wasn't too long, and thanks for tuning in to the expanded interweb video thing. Word. That was black when I said word. It wasn't Negro.